The Browns they're the talk of the town right now, right? Browns 11-5 last year, revamped defense, talking about back-to-back
went
playoff
into Pittsburgh
appearances.
and won a playoff game.
Oh, they went and stomped them too with like half their team gone. Their head coach wasn't there. Looking to make their first back-to-back postseason appearances since 1989 and 90. Of course, the Browns were gone from the NFL for a good chunk of that time too. But the point is, things are more exciting right now in Cleveland than they have been in a long time. Well, let's talk fantasy, because last year Baker Mayfield, who has basically the same supporting cast as this year as he did last year, with a couple of small additions, was quarterback 24 on a points per game basis, 15.5 points per game, Matthew. I mentioned him earlier as sort of part of that tier of quarterbacks who could break through, who could settle back. Do we see it from Baker? He got red hot down the stretch last year. Really hot. But do you remember last year where
Week 12 on, he was the 7th best quarterback in fantasy.
But remember there was also that stretch a little bit earlier on in the season where it was like, if Baker's going to break through fantasy-wise, not real football-wise, fantasy-wise, this is it. And it didn't really happen until the second half of that stretch. What do you make of Baker Mayfield this year? He's a tough one for me.
He is a tough one because we just haven't seen it consistently over a full season. Now, he's also had a tough career in this sense. In addition to, having a lot of injuries around him, right? Freddie Kitchens takes over halfway through his rookie year. He ends up doing really well. Then Freddie Kitchens the next year, it's kind of a disaster. I like the idea of him. You and I both agree on this particular point. Kevin Stefanski can coach.
Sure. Yeah,
Kevin Stefanski can coach his butt off. And so I like the idea of him, Baker Mayfield, in the second year in the same system. It was Hugh Jackson and there was Freddie Kitchens. It's been a lot of different playbooks for Baker Mayfield.
Totally.
And so second year in the system, very good offensive line. And what does Kevin Stefanski do well? He runs the ball. He does play action, which is basically what Baker Mayfield does well as well. And so the fact that they have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and they have this really good offensive line, my expectation here is second year in the system, I like Baker Mayfield to have a nice year. So I have Baker Mayfield at QB 19, not that it's super high, but I have him as one of those QB2s that could potentially break out because this is a guy that's going undrafted in the majority of leagues on ESPN.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I don't have him higher is that you mentioned the formula. You can say what you want about the Browns pass catchers. They are very talented. This team, especially with that new look defense, could win a lot of games this year, running the football a ton and playing better defense. Last year, they threw the ball on 54.5% of their plays. Yeah. Look around the NFL. That is not normal. That is very, very infrequent relative to other teams that are throwing the football 65, 68% of the time.
Average 30 pass attempts a game.
Yeah,
30. Bottom 5 in the NFL.
30. Just for some context, we talked about Big Ben yesterday. He was at 608 or 650 passing attempts last year, which you do the math, that's almost 40. That's closer to 40 a game. So opportunities are part of the reason why Baker Mayfield not quite on our QB1 radar. But let's talk about his running backs because there's a lot of talent.
But I do think there's some upside there with Baker because here's the thing. I believe in the talent. I believe in the talent of his pass catchers. I like the idea. And also last year was a weird year. Remember they also had some bad weather games where it was crazy wind.
Every
week it was just
rain.
Crazy wind. And so anyway, I'm in on Baker this year as a QB2 sleeper, as a later on QB2 sleeper.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.